Welcome to my show, Reflections. You are over here with Torithia. Now, we are here talking about a little Black history, okay? Now, with that being said, I don't want to talk about the same old Black history reflection. They said, Torith, what are you talking about the same old Black history? Ain't all of it? You get what I'm saying? Nothing is new under the sun. Well, reflection, slow down because I just got here over my spaceship. We got to take them slow, reflection. Shit, okay? With that being said, hit the like and subscribe button because you see the title. We are here talking about Sarah Barrtman. Now, for everyone who don't know about Sarah Barrtman, a lot of people do, but some don't. So if you don't reflection, don't worry about it. Hopefully after this video, you will have a better understanding of who actually Sarah Barrtman was, okay? Now, with that being said, reflection, Sarah Barrtman, a lot of people know her from performing, okay, performing in what they call the Hottentot Venus, okay. Now, this is actually it was like a circus act that was actually performed in London, okay. Now, Sarah had actually been promised what they say, reflection, a smiling face ain't nothing but a frown turned upside down. You over here with the crew, you with Sarithia. Hit the like and subscribe button because we get into a little history. Okay. So with that being said, reflection, she was promised a better life. Okay. She was promised a better life. So she ended up going to London for what she thought was going to be a better life, reflection. The whole time they got her reflection over there to actually perform. Yes, they got her over there to perform. Now, um, not only did they get her to perform, let me tell you about these particular performances that they had, reflection. These weren't your regular performances. This was more like a circus act. She was literally put on display, reflection. She was put on display. And not only was she put on display, what some would call a freak show, reflection, she would actually they would actually touch her. Yes, I'm not lying to you, reflection. They would actually touch her like you at a fucking petting zoo, reflection. Okay. And this is actually one of the flyers is well, reflection. So as you can see, yes, this is a real thing. And imagine, reflection, that's like you're getting ready to go to another place. Maybe you're in not the best situation. You meet someone, they tell you, okay, I have a better way of doing things. I have a new life. Let's go here and just start over type of energy, reflection. Shit, anything look better. You don't know what's ahead of you, but you know what's behind you. It got to look better than that. Or so she thought. So when she ended up going over there to London, reflection, remember, smiling face, a smile ain't nothing but a frown turned upside down. You gotta watch them. Okay. So they ended up going over their reflection, and the whole time it was a setup. It was a complete setup. Think about S trafficking today, reflection. Think about S trafficking. That's why I tell you nothing really is new under the sun if you go back and look. Think about that, reflection. She was forced into almost like, think about shit, reflection. She was damn near in a cage. People could come and touch her like she was on display. It's what they would call a circus show. Yes, and not only that, people would actually pay money, reflection, to touch certain private areas down in the bottom. And I'm not talking about in Jackson where the girls get naked. I'm talking about they would touch her in certain areas because, as you can see from the picture, reflection, she was blessed. She was blessed a little bit back there, reflection. So excuse the title too. That's the next video, Hollywood Exposed. We over here talking about Sarah. But with that being said, reflection, you have to think about that. You have to think about that. This particular goddess was actually kidnapped. That's kidnapping right there, reflection. They kidnapped her and trafficked her almost. Okay. It was just at a different time on a different situation, but the game is still the same. Okay. So remember, there's levels to everything. So not only that, reflection, they would people would come not only to look at her, but to touch her back, touch her butt, reflection, touch her private areas, touch the front and the back. Okay. And I don't even know if they tried to slide their hands through the crack. I don't know, reflection. Hit the like and subscribe button. We are talking about some real Black history, raw and uncut. Okay, reflection. Remember, just because it make you uncomfortable don't mean it ain't true. Okay, you may don't like my delivery, but you can go do your own research. Everything is going to line up. So with that being said, reflection, she She was getting travel from place to place, travel from place to place. Reflection, even after she stopped doing the circus, reflection, they would actually send her to another place. They would actually send her to another place. This person promised her, look, I can get you up out of this. I know you don't want to be up in this fucking freak show anyway, so I can promise you a better life. Okay, reflection. The whole time this person just wanted her to do the same thing. They just want, like, they were literally just passing her from this circus show to the next circus show. Okay, she even went to Paris. Yeah, she even went to Paris. She was actually sold to a, check this part out. She was sold to a animal. You didn't hear what I just said. She was sold to a animal trainer in Paris, and they actually classified her as a different species because they had never seen anyone with the type of physical features that what she had back that in the back, reflection. And not only that, what they don't say, I'm gonna tell you what they don't tell you in history. It's a start in certain practices they will actually get they would get this surgery done where it's a ritual, reflection, to the girls where they're about to start their puberty, and they will actually get a certain surgery done on their area, on their area right there. Let's see, hold on, let me delete something so I can show you what I'm talking about. So when she went over there, the reason I'm showing you this is because when she went over there, they was fascinated by this, reflection. They was actually fascinated by this the whole time. She had just started to her puberty, so she had went through this ritual. Okay, so let me put up my thing. Let me put up my thing. Remember, I am not a medical doctor. Okay, everything over here is alleged. Okay, so in certain practices, reflection, they actually do body modifications. Think about in certain tribes when they get certain tattoos all over them, or they'll just get certain scarrings all over them. Okay, is a certain of rite of passage. Okay, so she had actually had this performed on her. So when they see her that area, it was hanging a little bit. It was hanging a little bit, reflection, because after that particular ritual, it's going to hang a little bit. Okay, so they were touching it. They were touching that allegedly, reflection. They thought she was. They even consider her a different species because they haven't seen anyone like her, reflection, the whole time, reflection. This is just a goddess. This She's just blessed, baby. She was just blessed. Okay, so with that being said, reflection, they was actually putting her on display like she was in a fucking pen too. Okay, now, not with that not just that, reflection, don't get it twisted. They thought she was exotic. They thought they was very fascinated with her. Now we know ain't nothing new under the sun. So what else you think possibly allegedly they was doing with her after them fucking shows? What do you think was going on, reflection? I ain't saying nothing, but ain't nothing new under the sun. And yeah, okay. Because you gotta think in London, her body was very different from European women. Okay, so they had never seen nobody like this with this brown skin, this tightly coiled hair, and you get what I'm saying, from the front and from the back. They had never seen anything like this. So to them, she was considered exotic, and they would actually pay these people that had her great amounts of money. You get what I'm saying, reflection? So she just went through broken promise after broken promise. Okay, so even after that, reflection, even after she had passed, they still didn't do right by her ass. They still didn't do right by her. Let me tell you, guess what they did, reflection? When she passed, keep in mind they put her on display while she was alive. Kidnapped to put her on display. When she passed, reflection, they still got her ass on display. They still had her on display, reflection. They actually put her up. Yes, this is an actual picture of where they actually put her up for display still, reflection. Think about it. These people consider her exotic. They had never seen anything like her. So they actually put a plastered cast of her body, okay? And it was on display actually until 1974. Even not only that, reflection, her body parts. They even had certain body parts that were on display as well. Now, what a lot of people don't know is Nelson Mandela actually fought to get her remains back home. Now, if you go back and you listen at my other stories, reflection, remember, listen, go back and listen to my other stories, hit the Black History tab, and a lot of these people, if you will notice, there's a lot of similarities. They would always keep their remains. What do you think they are doing with these people remains? Why do you think they want them? Okay, why do you think they want them? Now, it's not even, it's said that remember, Nelson Mandela was fighting to get her body back. Okay, this her body was on display in 1974. It wasn't until August the 9th reflection. Think about this. August the 9th of 2002. How long did it take you to think about it, baby? 2002 until they actually received her body. Okay, reflection, until she was actually returned back to her proper home where she could get a burial. Okay, and that's not even her real name, Sarah Bartman. She was kidnapped, reflection, so damn long. Shit, her name, her true name has been lost in history. Nobody even knows what her real name is. Okay, do you hear what I'm saying to your reflection? Did you hear what I said to you they did with Sarah Bartman? Hit the like and subscribe. But we over here talking about real Black history. Yes, the reflection. We're talking about the real Black history. Okay. Now, with that being said, let's actually watch a couple of clips. You heard what I had to say about Sarah Bartman. Let's hear what a lot of other people have to actually say about Sarah Bartman.
On December 29, 1815, Sarah Bartman died, but her exhibition continued. When a 20-year-old Sarah Bartman got on a boat that was to take her from Cape Town to London in 1810, she could not have known that she would never see her home again. The life and times of Sarah Sartya Bartman, the Hottentot Venus. Hottentot was the name for the Khoi people, and Venus referred to the Roman goddess of love and fertility. Born in 1775, into a Khoi family near Kamdabu in what is now the Eastern Cape of South Africa. Bartman.
You hear that reflection? They done took her ass all the way over there to London.
I was used in a circus exhibit because of my large buttocks. I am Sachi Bartman, also known as Sarah Bartman or Hottentot Venus. I am the woman who was exhibited as a circus attraction due to my steatopygia, which results in extremely protuberant buttocks. I was born in Africa in 1789 and a daughter of the Khoi people. I was given the name Sachi, meaning Little Sarah. My childhood ended abruptly when I was taken from my family by a man with false promises. I was a young woman with very unique physical features, so I was taken far away from my home to be displayed as an attraction for crowds of Europeans to see. I found myself locked in a box, a cage with glass walls, poked and prodded like a strange bug, paraded before jeering crowds who gawked at my body, seeing only skin, not a beating heart. They called me a Hottentot Venus, an exotic creature. I was objectified for others' pleasure. I died at the age of 26 of an undetermined inflammatory ailment. After my
It's not about white validation. No. It's about self-respect. Look good for yourself.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, black women, we know y'all are the best, so be your best. And white validation has nothing to do with it. Your thoughts?
I understand where we came from. And one major problem that's happening right now is we don't know our history, brother. A lot of our people are so ignorant to the history. And I'm talking about black women, black men. They don't have no idea. For example, I love the black woman. Y'all know this, so you know it's always in love when your brother's talking to you. They don't know who Sarah Bartman is.
I don't know who Sarah Bartman is.
Sarah Bartman was a black woman, a sister from South Africa, whose gluteus maximus, her butt was so big.
They put her in like a
They
zoo.
put her, oh yes.
Okay,
they paraded her throughout Europe. They used her body as a fetish type of activator, or white people would touch her body and say, ooh, I've never seen a buttocks this big.
Well, how many times have white girls tried to touch black girls' hair?
Yes.
Oh my God, your braids. Oh my God, can I? So
it's very real.
Right.
But the point is, they were parading, they were literally in a circus, had her in a cage. This is a black woman from Africa. They refer to her as the Venus Hottentot.
Right.
Everyone needs to know who Sarah Bartman is. All black women who get BBLs, all the sisters out here who got your butt out, you please, I implore you to please learn about who Sarah Bartman is, because you are now doing voluntarily what she was being forced to do. She was put in a cage. She was paraded as a circus freak, and they couldn't believe how big her butt was. And so they would touch her and they would do all of this. It went from her being on display publicly to her being put on display in the underground orgy market that they had in Europe. It became so nasty to where these white folks was touching her with their disgusting hands and body parts to where she contracted an STD. And from that point, when she died, they put her body on display in Paris all the way up until 1974. They preserved her body and had it on display until 1974. And it wasn't until 2002 that they brought her body back to Africa and laid it to rest.
I don't think y'all heard what he said. Reflection, did I tell you what was going on in them after parties? And they didn't even have the audacity to even reach in the bucket and wrap it up. Reflection.
Saartjie Bartman was born in the year 1789. in the faraway land of Gamtoos River in the Eastern Cape, which is today modern South Africa. But her world was not a peaceful one. Her parents were ripped away from her at an early age, leaving her to face the harsh world alone. Her mother's death when she was a mere toddler and her father's departure during her teenage years cast her into a pit of despair and isolation. She had a husband, but a Dutch colonist took him away forever, leaving her heartbroken. And if that wasn't enough, she also lost a baby, who didn't get a chance to grow up. Life had been unfair to Sarchi, and she was captured from Africa and brought to Europe, where she was featured in exhibitions. Well, not because they considered her beautiful, but because they exhibited her as a non-human African entity with something peculiar. She was exhibited in London and Paris shows, not on stage but in a cage we often see in zoos. People came to see her because of her heavy hips and curvaceous body, something women today covet. Her entire life she was used as a circus animal, rather than being respected as a human. How was her life and what did they do to her body after her death? Yes, she wasn't spared. They looked at Sarchi and were fascinated by the things that made her different from them. Yes, her body, especially her private parts and her large hips, triggered the evil desires in them. These were normal in her Khoikhoi tribe, but strange to the European eyes. Hendrik Cesar decided to take Sarchi with him to England, promising her good things like wealth, fame, and return home. But those promises turned out to be empty words, and Sarchi was caught in a web of lies. She, along with Hendrik Cesar and Dr. Dunlop, boarded a ship that sailed to a faraway land of England. Sadly, this marked the beginning of a very sad chapter in her life. She never saw her home in South Africa again. Hendrik Cesar and Dr. Dunlop had plans to make money from Sarchi's body. They wanted to show her to curious people, hoping they would pay to see her. They even tried to sell her to a museum, but they only bought a giraffe's skin from them. Hendrik Cesar didn't give up. He saw a way to make money by showing Sarchi to crowds of people who came for different reasons. Some were curious, some were disgusted, and some even had strange thoughts about her. Even though many people wanted to see her, no one really knew how Sarchi felt. She must have been sad and scared, but nobody wrote down her feelings. Some writers from that time saw her crying and asking not to be made to dance in front of the audience. She was in pain, but her keeper didn't listen and forced her to perform. She was treated like a wild animal, caged and made to dance and perform whenever the master ordered. An important person who fought against slavery persuaded a court called the King's Bench to listen to a case about whether Sarchi had agreed to come to England and perform, or if she was forced. The man who had been showing her Cesar said she had come willingly and even signed a contract, but Sarchi never knew about any contract. The contract became her prison, allowing Dunlop and his accomplices to traverse different lands, flaunting Sarah's exposed body like a perverse sideshow. As they reveled in obscene profits, Sarah was subjected to the vilest of displays, paraded around in barely their attire. The public paid to gawk at her, touch her, and treat her like a lifeless object existing solely for their amusement. They reduced her to a pitiful plaything, commanding her every move, each gesture a reminder of her stolen humanity. In the court could not be understood as the actual words Sarchi said weren't in the court records, they were translated by someone else. Whatever Sarchi said, it was translated and changed and told to the court. When Sarchi said she was captured, brought to England, and treated like less than an animal, the person translated them and said Sarchi was happy to be in England and didn't want to go back to South Africa. This testimony and the legal contract, shown earlier, played against Sarchi. But how could anyone with a shred of humanity believe that? Coercion hung heavy in the air, and her shaky command of
Okay, reflection. So what do you think about that? What do you think about that? How do you have a chance to get something like that? Reflection, you in a whole nother country. They got an interpreter in the whole time. The interpreter is over there twisting up your words. How do you win against something like that? Reflection. Hit the subscribe button. You over here on my spaceship, baby. We are with the crew. Roll up and pull up. We are talking about Sarah Barrtman and her mistreatment throughout history. Reflection. She actually died of, probably, allegedly, I'm not saying that was the reason she died, but she had all of these different, you got to think she was on a whole nother country. Reflection. Ain't no telling what type of super STDs allegedly they had over there. Reflection. You don't know what was going on after those particular shows. And you got to think the type of conditions that she was in, not even just sexual diseases. Reflection. Just imagine having to endure all of that and still being made to perform on the daily, and you're not getting the best treat, you ain't getting no type of good treatment. Reflection, shit, what is really going on? Hit the like and subscribe button. You over here with Sarita, and we talking about real Black history. Until next time, Ashe.